Hey everyone, and welcome. We're going to jump right into a topic that is so important for SEO, but honestly gets ignored way too often. We're talking about pagination. Now I know, it sounds a little dry, a little technical, but trust me, getting this right is the absolute key to making sure Google can actually see all that great content you're creating.
So let me ask you something, right off the bat. Is it possible that your website is actively hiding some of its best content from Google, like right now, without you even realizing it? The answer is probably yes, and it all boils down to those little page numbers you see at the bottom of a blog or a product category page.
Yeah, you heard that right. We're calling it the silent SEO killer. And for good reason. When you get pagination wrong, it can just quietly erase huge sections of your website from Google's view. It doesn't matter how amazing your content is, if the crawler can't find it, it might as well not exist.
Okay, so let's make sure we're all on the same page here. What exactly is pagination? Well, it's just the simple act of splitting up a big chunk of content into separate pages. You know, page 1, page 2, page 3, you get the idea. It's great for humans, right? But, and this is a big but, it can create a real mess for search engines if you don't set it up just right.
Here's the best way to think about it. Pagination is all about creating signposts. For a person visiting your site, these signposts prevent them from being overwhelmed by a massive, endless wall of text or products. But for a search engine bot, like Google's crawler, those signposts are its entire map. They need to be perfectly clear, saying, hey, more great stuff over here on page 2. If those signs are broken or confusing, the crawler gets lost, turns around, and just leaves. And all that content on page 2 and beyond, poof, invisible.
All right, so if we're going to solve this, we need to do something a little different. We have to stop thinking like a human for a minute and start thinking like a machine, specifically like a Google bot. So let's take a look at what Google really cares about in 2025.
So, Google's little crawler is looking for a few key things. It wants to see high-quality content, obviously. It's looking for a positive user experience. It needs a super clear link structure to follow, and it relies on proper technical signals like canonical tags. Now, here's the kicker. Good pagination hits all 4 of these points. It's like a signal to Google that says, hey, this site is well organized, we care about our users, and you can trust our structure. And Google absolutely loves that.
Okay, theory's great, but how do we actually do this? Let's get practical. I've got a simple 5-step playbook for you that's going to make sure your pagination is an asset, not a liability. All right, first things first, you got to pick your poison. On one hand, you have the classic numbered pages, page 1, 2, 3. This is by far the most SEO-friendly option because it gives Google solid, concrete links to follow. On the other hand, you have infinite scroll. It can feel really slick for users, right? But for crawlers, it's often a dead end. Unless you've done some fancy technical work to make sure it creates new URLs as you scroll, the crawler just sees the first batch of content and assumes that's all there is.
So here it is, the playbook. Step 1, as we said, is choosing your method. Step 2 is all about your URLs. Make them clean and readable. Something like /blog/page2. Step 3 is the big one, the technical part, using the right HTML tags. This is where we build those signposts for Google. Step 4 is speed. Your pages have to load fast. Nobody's got time for a slow site, especially not Google. And finally, step 5, you got to monitor everything. You need to actually check if people and crawlers are making it past page 1.
Now, let's zoom in on what I think is the most important part, those HTML tags. Don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. You basically need 2 things. First, rel prev and rel next tags. Just think of these as little arrows pointing forward and backward, telling Google, hey, this is page 2, page 1 is that way, and page 3 is this way. It creates an unbroken chain. Then you need a canonical tag. This little piece of code on page 2, 3, 4, and so on points back to page 1 and says this is the main hub, the original version. This is absolutely critical for preventing Google from thinking you have a bunch of duplicate content.
Okay, so we know what to do. Now let's talk about what not to do. It's time to cover the common pitfalls. These are the 4 big mistakes that can totally wreck all your hard work.
Mistake number 1 is all about weak internal linking. Basically, you're creating a dead end for the crawler. Imagine if page 5 doesn't have a clear link to page 6 or even back to page 4. You've just broken the chain. The Googlebot gets to the end of page 5 and thinks, well, guess that's it, and it leaves. Everything on page 6, 7, 20, it might as well not even exist. Next up, the dreaded duplicate content issue. This is a big one.
It happens a lot when you have filters like sort by price or show only blue shirts. If you don't use that canonical tag we talked about to point back to the main category page, Google sees 10 slightly different versions of the same page. It gets confused, doesn't know which one to rank, and so it just kind of splits your SEO power between all of them, making them all weaker. Pitfall number 3. Ugly, messy URLs. You've seen them, right? URLs that are just a jumble of letters, numbers, and question marks. If your second page URL looks like that, instead of something clean and simple like yoursite.com/blog/page/2, you're making life way harder for search engines. They need to understand your site's hierarchy, and a clean URL is like a clear signpost.
And the last big mistake, and it's a huge one, is completely forgetting about mobile users. Come on, it's 2025. Most of your traffic is probably on a phone. If your page numbers are so tiny you need a microscope to see them, or the next button is impossible to tap without hitting 3 other things, people are going to get frustrated and just leave. That's a bounce, and a high bounce rate tells Google your site offers a bad experience.
This right here, this quote, just sums it all up perfectly. A broken link between your paginated pages isn't just a small technical error. No, it's a brick wall. It's a locked door for a search engine. And all that amazing content, all those products you want to sell, everything behind that locked door is invisible. That's why this isn't a nice to have. It's absolutely non-negotiable.
Okay, we've covered a lot. So to bring it all home and give you something you can literally take and use right now, let's run through one final checklist. This is your roadmap to getting pagination right once and for all.
All right, here we go, your SEO pagination checklist. First, make sure you've picked the right method for your site. Second, clean up those URLs and make them easy to understand. Third, and this is a big one, get those rel, prev, next, and canonical tags in place. Fourth, double-check your page speed. And finally, keep an eye on your analytics to see how things are working. You do these things, you check all these boxes, and you're not just avoiding problems, you're practically rolling out the red carpet for Google to come find all your content.
Which really brings us back to where we started. You've done the hard part. You've created the amazing content. You've built the beautiful website. But the question you need to ask yourself right now is this. Is Google actually seeing all of it? Or have you accidentally left the map in the glove box? Go check your site, because your content is ready. The real question is Google ready to find it?